Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And this is my interpretation of what it looks like to have your natal moon in the nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So before we get into this, we have to understand what the moon represents, and then we have to break down this nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha. And just a quick disclaimer that this is not according to Western tropical astrology. This will be according to Vedic astrology, which is using the sidereal zodiac. So if you're not familiar with what your sidereal moon sign is, there is a link to a calculator down below in the description so that you have the correct information. The moon is one of the most important grahas in Vedic astrology. The moon is representing your mind. Therefore, the moon represents everything that is happening within your life. The moon is a reflector. It is a projector. Everything that is in your mind becomes a manifestation within your physical reality. In the same way, you are perceiving everything that is happening within your reality. So the moon is projecting what is in your mind and is reflecting everything within your reality. The moon represents your body, your health, your vitality, how you are interacting with others. When people are coming across you and you are making connections, this is the personality that is coming forward. The moon represents your social standings, how you fit into society, how you're able to adapt and relate to others. The moon is also popularity and beauty. The moon is representing the mother, your connection to your mother, what kind of nurturing you need emotionally, what is making you feel emotionally satisfied. The moon is also representing all of the fluid in your body. So it is connected to your water intake. It is connected to your nourishment, all of your needs that need to be met. The moon is a very personal planet that has to do with your emotions, how you react, and how you are responding to situations around you. Uttara Ashadha means the latter invincible. This is called the universal star, and this is represented by an elephant's tusk. And so this tusk is representing power, victory, and honor. This is all to do with this invincibility, this unchallengeable victory that is found here within this nakshatra. And Uttara Ashadha is actually containing another nakshatra of Avijit, which is a nakshatra that is only used for ceremonial purposes. So there are actually 28 nakshatras, but we're using 27 of them here within the zodiac. And Abhijit is a very lucky nakshatra that has to do with abundance and great success. So relating back to this nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha, which is the unchallengeable victory. This is also symbolized by prongs of a bed. So this is symbolizing the stability, the foundation of the bed. This is the foundation of our spirituality. So setting the groundwork, the framework for us to go inward, to reflect, to connect deeper. And this is a very introspective nakshatra. It is very much about going inward and being about oneself, understanding oneself. So this is a nakshatra that is highly independent. And we can see that because this is a sun nakshatra, which is all about our ego, our soul, our purpose, our individuality. The sun is that power, that radiance that emanates from within us. And it is a very stable graha. The sun is very reliable. It does the same thing every day from east to west. It goes along this path. And yearly it goes along this path that is also very reliable in telling us the seasons. And so we can see that this is a fixed nakshatra. It is very steady, it's very reliable, it's very consistent. There is a persistence to Uttara Ashadha, which is all to do with this unchallengeable victory, this permanent victory. This is also a symbol with the prongs of the bed of humility, of humbleness. And so this is a nakshatra that sometimes can come with a God complex, that can come with this superiority. There is a superior level of intelligence, of skill that is found under this nakshatra. These are individuals who can be highly skillful, highly intelligent. They can come with a ton of talents and abilities that make them very successful and victorious in life. This is a nakshatra that is all about this great achievement, but remember that this is the latter part of the victory. This is the latter part of this invincible pair. We talked about in our last video how Purva Ashadha was the farmer invincible. It's the beginning of this pair that is all about achieving victory. But here in this latter part, this is the victory that comes after, that comes later. And so oftentimes these are individuals born under Uttara Ashadha who go through challenges, who go through struggles, who have to work very diligently in order to arrive at this success. It is something that comes later on. This is also ruled over by the vishwa devas, which are the universal gods. So all gods. And so this is called the universal star, as this is where all of the energies are coming together. We see all of the influences of our previous nakshatras joining up in this one nakshatra. So this is about togetherness. It is about the interconnectedness of things. Again, this is a highly introspective nakshatra, about going inward, coming to this self-realization. And we talked about in our previous nakshatra how this whole sign of Sagittarius has been about this self-realization, this inner truth, finding oneself, as this is the beginning of our spiritual journey, right? We started this sattvic zone, this journey towards a spiritual path in our Mula Nakshatra, which was right at the beginning of Sagittarius. And so as we come to the end of Sagittarius, where the first quarter of this nakshatra is in Sagittarius, while the last 3 quarters are falling in Capricorn. This is the self-realization. This is the awakening. This is coming to terms with one's own power, one's own essence, one's own potential under this nakshatra. The Sagittarius sign is all about aiming towards a higher path. It is this shift in direction in our zodiac, as it is an archer, a centaur that is aiming its arrow up towards the heavens, up towards higher consciousness. And half of this centaur is a horse, which is symbolizing the animal nature that we found in the sign of Scorpio. It is releasing that stinger, releasing those animalistic qualities, and moving into this state of higher consciousness, achieving something greater, expanding oneself, looking upward. And so this is, again, all about this self-realization, this higher state of consciousness, this divine wisdom. And this is a nakshatra that is incredibly wise and intelligent, that has a ton of potential and strength found within it. This is also a nakshatra that has the sexual animal type of a male mongoose. And this is the only nakshatra that does not come in a pair. So usually we will see a female and a male counterpart of the animal types. But there is no female mongoose in the zodiac. So this is the only nakshatra that has no pair. It is individualistic. It is all about the self, all about the individual path. So again, deeply introspective. These are people who are highly self-reliant, who are self-motivated, who have a ton of confidence in themselves, and they are all about moving forward on their own efforts. These are people who put a ton of work and effort into their success in life. And these can be workaholics, people who never stop working, who have the energy, who have the persistence to keep going. Again, we're here in this fixed nakshatra, and with this being 3/4 of the way into Capricorn, which Capricorn is our original 10th house of our zodiac, which has everything to do with our responsibility, our commitment, our work life, our career, our status, our image, our success, our legacy. It is all about achieving the heights, all about reaching this higher state. And so, especially in the side of this nakshatra that is Capricorn, we can see people who are very status oriented, who are very work focused, very practical people. This is a highly strategic nakshatra, and the sign of Capricorn itself is a strategic sign. The symbol of Capricorn is a sea monster, which in Western tropical astrology we often see this as a sea goat. But here in the Vedic system, it actually resembles more of a crocodile. And so it is about this strategy, this calculation, waiting patiently in the waters, planning out its attack, and then striking when the moment is right. So there is this calculation that is found in Capricorn, this patience, this diligence, this work ethic that is here in Capricorn, to take your time, to be practical, to make those moves, to achieve this great success when the time is right. And so this is a nakshatra that can have a ton of patience, that can have a ton of persistence to it. It doesn't give up. It keeps going through the difficulties. This is a nakshatra that can achieve great success again, but often coming later on. And in the Sagittarius part of this nakshatra, there can be a huge aim towards spirituality and knowledge. But in general, these are people who are very knowledgeable, who often have a very strong memory. They can collect a ton of information. These are people who are highly educated and are able to use their knowledge, able to use their skills to achieve great feats in life. The male mongoose also has an ability to conquer serpents. It is the snake killer. And so the mongoose is a very dangerous creature that can cause a lot of havoc and destruction and is a main enemy of the cobra. So these are individuals, again, who have this ability to overcome challenges. And we talked about in the previous nakshatras how the elephant tusk has this ability of regeneration, to come back. The elephant is able to regrow their tusk. And so this has the ability to overcome those obstacles, to come back from defeat, to persist through the obstacles of life. So this is an incredibly powerful nakshatra. These can be very worldly people. And so this nakshatra is not necessarily related to spirituality. With it being in this sign of Capricorn, it is more earth-based. It is more practical. It is more about success, about status. But this is also representing our spiritual evolution, as it's setting the foundation, the stability for us to reach this level of spiritual awakening. And so this is a nakshatra that can have a conflict between the physical and the spiritual. These are people who can move in the direction of spirituality, or they can move in the direction of material success. There's often a back and forth or a conflict or a choice between either one. These are people who are very much about their individuality. They are people who can come across as cold or distant or very independent. They're very focused on their goals, and in some cases this can get in the way of their relationships. There can be difficulties in marriage where they are simply workaholics, very much focused on their work, their success, and sometimes neglecting their partners in this way, where they're focused too much on their work. These are people who are not so much about making compromises or being diplomatic. They're very much about their way, about their achievement. They have a strong moral system. They have very strong values. These are people who stick to their beliefs. They stick to their traditions. They stick to their truth. This is very strong here. And again, we talked about how this is associated with the sign of Sagittarius, where there's a strong level of righteousness, of morality, where these are people who are strong and firm in their conviction. This is a nakshatra that often is going to be softer than our last nakshatra. So anytime we talk about the purvas and the uttaras, the uttara side of the pair often is going to be a lot calmer than that purva part of the pair. So we saw in the Uttara Ashadha nakshatra that was a more fierce zone of these ashadas, where those were people who could be very fierce, very much outward, but these people in this Uttara part often are more calm, more graceful. They carry themselves with a certain amount of dignity. So very strong character that is found under this nakshatra. These are individuals who often are very obedient, who are very well behaved. They have a lot of grace in their behavior and mannerisms, but they are all about their power. They are often seen in leadership roles. These are people who are able to delegate tasks to others, who are able to conquer and achieve great feats from high positions. The elephant tusk can also be associated with writing. And so these are people who can have skills in terms of writing and public speaking. Again, these are people who are often very intelligent, very studious. They have a deep level of intelligence and they can share this wisdom and knowledge with the world through their writing abilities. Due to their very virtuous and righteous nature, they can be people who are very well respected, who are very well liked by others. There can be a lot of popularity that is found under this nakshatra. There also can be some jealousy towards these individuals, and sometimes there is dislike for how righteous they are, where these are people who can sometimes be very rigid in their belief systems. They often are able to give very good advice. Again, these are people who are very introspective, very self reflective. They have a high level of self awareness, which gives them a very deep understanding. And so they can give a ton of wisdom and advice to others that is often going to lead to success. These are people who can be very traditional, and so oftentimes they're very much about order and keeping things organized and structured within their lives, and even sometimes to the point of being overly rigid. These are people, though, who are not afraid to take risks, who are very bold, very courageous. They believe in their capabilities. They believe that they have the ability to achieve. Sometimes there are doubts that are found within this nakshatra, however, where these people can be a bit paranoid. They can see the world as something that is against them. They can have difficulty with trusting others at times. And so there can sometimes be doubt that is found in this nakshatra, where these are very logical people, very practical people. They need to see the facts. They need to understand things on a level where there is proof, where there is evidence to back up that this is actually the truth. And we talked about in our previous nakshatra how Sagittarius especially has a huge connection with truth. They are all about the truth. But this, especially on the Capricorn side, is really about seeing things in a practical and concrete way, as Capricorn is an earth sign. And Capricorn is the most powerful of all the earth signs. It is a cardinal earth sign, so it has the ability to progress through this earth element, to literally make the earth move. These are people who can create great change, who can make great things happen in the world. And so this is often a nakshatra that also is associated with humanitarian pursuits, with the environment, with how we can change as a collective. They want to set an example for what is right in this world and to make great changes within the world to move towards something that is better, to progress forward. And so these are people who can have a huge impact, very influential people. Again, this is a moksha nakshatra, and so these are individuals who can strive towards spirituality. This moksha is all about liberation and enlightenment. And so these are individuals who often are looking for the freedom to move towards a particular goal. And this is especially true when it comes to their independence. Again, the sun has to do with our individuality, our sole purpose. It is specific to ourselves. And so these are people who are all about their independence. They are all about doing things on their own. They want to conquer, to achieve, to strive towards something that is greater. And again, oftentimes on the Capricorn side, this leans towards something that is more practical, towards wealth, career, success, status, where on the Sagittarius side, this can lean towards knowledge and spirituality. For the people born under this nakshatra, they can have spiritual revelations and breakthroughs through their difficulties early on. So again, This is a nakshatra that achieves things later in life. This is the latter victory. And so these challenges can often lead towards their material success, but it also can lead towards a deeper understanding of themselves that can take them in this space of spirituality if they choose to. These are people who also can learn empathy through their difficulties, through their suffering, through those challenges early on in life. However, these are people who can sometimes come across as very dry, as very rigid, as very much individualistic, where they're not showing a ton of empathy. And what we're going to talk about, especially as we go into our next nakshatra, is that Capricorn is a sign that can come across in this very cold and serious way. But actually, Capricorn does have a lot of feeling to it. It is hidden below the surface. So we're going to discuss that more as we get into the Shravana nakshatra, which is the most sensitive part of Capricorn. But Capricorn individuals often don't express their emotions. They're very private about their feelings and thoughts. And so they often come across in this very serious and dry way. But there is feeling that is deep within this sign of Capricorn. Lord Ganesh is often associated with this nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha, as Ganesh has the elephant head, and Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So again, this shows their ability for those who are born under this nakshatra to persist through the difficulties of life. They are very perseverant where they can overcome challenges and obstacles to get towards their victory. And Lord Ganesh also is associated with new beginnings. And so these are people, again, especially on the Capricorn side, as this falls in a cardinal sign, these are people who can start new ventures, who can be pioneers, who can start new projects, new tasks. They can jump into new situations that lead them towards success. And so these are people who often are jumping into new projects. They have something new after they have finished their last goal. They keep persisting forward in this manner towards success. The 10 Vishwa devas are also associated with virtues, and these are willpower, skillfulness, time, desire, goodness, truth, firmness, ancestors, brightness, and peak of joy. And so you can often find these qualities are very strong within this nakshatra of Uttarashada. Again, this is all about bringing together all of these energies and using this to strive towards success. And this togetherness is a huge factor that is found here in Uttarashada, where these are individuals who can achieve great feats by working in a team, by delegating tasks. Oftentimes, when they are involved in a group or team situation, their chances of success increases through this connection of the universal gods. These are individuals who can also have very little tolerance or patience for those who are lazy. Again, these are people who are very hardworking, who take their duties and obligations very seriously. So we can take this nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha and break it up into 4 quarters or 4 padas. This 13-degree 20-minute nakshatra can be broken up into 3-degree 20-minute sections. And the first is a Sagittarius Navamsa. And this is Virgodama because this is falling under the sign of Sagittarius. So we have this double Sagittarius energy that's occurring here from 26 degrees 40 minutes till 30 degrees of Sagittarius. These are individuals who are very virtuous, who are all about honesty, righteousness. They have very strong moral values and conviction, and they are highly courageous, unafraid to take risk, all about leaping into situations, and they have a ton of faith and optimism in their strength and potential. They know that they will achieve and that they have nothing to lose. So these are people who are all about progressing forward. These are individuals who also possess a ton of knowledge and wisdom. They are all about learning. These are people who are interested in diving into the deeper spiritual and philosophical mysteries of life. Those who are born under the second quarter or second pada are falling under a Capricorn Navamsa. This is also a Virgodama, as this is falling under the sign of Capricorn as well. So from 0 degrees till 3 degrees 20 minutes of Capricorn, we have a double Capricorn effect. These are individuals who are highly practical, materialistic. They are all about the material world, about their success, their status. These are people who hold a position of high authority, and they are people who often are able to achieve great success in life. They have a ton of persistence and determination. These are people who can be family focused. They can be all about gaining security and wealth. Those who are born under the third quarter are falling under an Aquarius Navamsa, and this is from 3 degrees 20 minutes till 6 degrees 40 minutes of Capricorn. And these are individuals who are very much family oriented. They are all about accumulating wealth and security and taking care of their loved ones. These are people who are highly inclined towards the material world, but they also can possess a wealth of spiritual knowledge. These are people who are very knowledgeable, very well spoken. They can have excellent speaking and writing abilities. And oftentimes they get success through groups. And so, under this third quarter, especially, there is a recommendation to always work on teams, to always work in groups, as this will increase chances of success. Those who are born under the fourth quarter are falling under a Pisces Navamsa. This is from 6 degrees 40 minutes till 10 degrees of Capricorn. These are individuals who are highly determined, purposeful. They are filled with courage and determination, all about achieving their goals and desires. These are people who can have a ton of skills, business skills, communication skills, writing skills. These are people who are able to achieve great success. They also can be wanderers, so there can be a great interest in traveling, exploring, gaining more knowledge and understanding. And these are people who are often able to accumulate a great deal of success and abundance. Pada 4 can also have a difficulty between the balance of the spiritual and the physical. There's a need to balance out their physical desires and their spiritual calling. These are people who often can be split between moving towards the material world and wanting to achieve spiritual enlightenment. So there is this inner conflict that is occurring here in this last quarter. These are people who also can have difficulty with balancing out their work life and their family life. So this is needed to find balance here within this last quarter.